Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Kate and I'm your folk art and music teacher from the Hindman Settlement School. Well, many years before white settlers came to live in Appalachia, there was already a group of folks that lived here and made their home here for hundreds and hundreds of years. This group of folks can be called the indigenous folks of Appalachia, the natives, or the first peoples of Appalachia. Now, in this lesson, I have a very special friend. Her name is Landra Lewis, and she's going to be sharing with us all about her experience as an indigenous person living in Appalachia. Landra grew up in eastern Kentucky. She was raised by two indigenous grandmothers, and she draws from that experience to be able to share with us the culture and the history and the heritage of indigenous and first peoples and natives that lived in Appalachia and still do to this very day. So I hope you'll enjoy this lesson, and I'm sure you'll enjoy visiting with Miss Landra.
I want to do a little song for you that I wrote many years ago. And sometimes when we write songs, a lot of Native American songs are written in what we call nonsense syllabary. And what that means is that we use sounds that we like that may not necessarily be words, but we like the sounds. And so I want to do this little song for you. And I'm using a rattle for this one. Hit it against my hand. Yana he, nyako chine, yana ho, nyako sechi. Please hear my plea. Let us live in harmony. Let's do that one more time, and maybe you can sing along with me. I'll do it slowly. Yana he, nyako chine, yana ho, nyako sechi. Please hear my plea. Let us live in harmony. Let's talk about the Southeast Woodland Native Americans, or First Peoples, or Indigenous people. We can all be called all of those things. And some of the Southeast Woodland Indians, or Native Americans, or Indigenous people, are the Cherokee people, the Shawnee, the Creek. They all lived in the region we know as Appalachia, and a lot of us are still here. A lot of people think that the Indians are gone, that they lived in history, and they did. But a lot of us are still here today. And I want to show you some of the things of our people. And this, if you can see, my dress that I'm wearing is called a buckskin. It has long fringes hanging on it. And a lot of people think these are just to be pretty, but they're actually tools, because this fringe, as the women walked in the woods to gather food, like plants, or plants for medicine, if they couldn't carry them all, they had their hands full, they would tie them up onto this little fringe, and it would hang from their arm. So that kept their hands free so they could continue to work. So these fringes are really tools, but they are pretty. And this feather, you can see, I'll lean in closer so you can see, is a hawk feather. And we wear many different kinds of feathers. But the feathers to us remind us of the power of and the sacredness of birds, because birds can come to the earth, but they can also zoom into the sky. They come to earth occasionally and they move back and forth between the earth and the sky. And so this reminds us of our connection to both the earth and the sky, like the birds, even though we can't fly into the sky like the birds. And I'll show you my earring. This is, there you go. You see it looks like an ear of corn with a shuck on it? I'm sorry, that's a little blurry, but this is called Indian corn. It's all different colors, and a lot of indigenous people, the Native Americans, are known also as indigenous people. Indigenous just means that people who are the original people of a particular area. And so this is like Indian corn, and it has an actual corn shuck on the outside. It's made of tiny beads. This, my necklace, you can see there's a star there that has 7 points on it, and a piece of turquoise hanging. This star is a carved horn from like a bull horn, and it the 7 points on it represent, for the Cherokee people, the 7 clans. It also represents the 7 directions. There's the direction of east, that's where the sun comes up every day, and south, and west, where the sun sets, and north. And there's also up, like where the bird flies, and down on the earth where we walk, and inside where we are. Those are the 7 directions. So when you see 7 pointed things, you'll know what they mean. And back here, I have, well, this is, can you see the Cherokee? This is a carved gourd, and this is the Cherokee water spider. Isn't she lovely? And there's a feather on there. We use a lot of feathers on a lot of things. And this is a rattle. We use this to make music. You see, it has feathers, and it's in the shape of a turtle. We refer to this country, the United States, as Turtle Island because it's sort of shaped as a turtle, kind of like this rattle. And this we use to make music. This is very important. This is a talking stick. And when a group of us gather together to sit in a circle and talk, we pass this around, and whoever is holding the talking stick gets to talk. And while that person is holding the talking stick, everyone else honors that person by being quiet. And nobody else speaks until I pass the talking stick to the next person. Isn't that nice? And while one person is talking, everyone else listens very carefully. Talking stick is very important, that we honor one another and listen to one another. This is a beautiful basket made by a Cherokee man in Cherokee, North Carolina. And all of the pieces that it's woven with here, the red comes from a plant called bloodroot, and the brown comes from walnut shells. The green part on the outside of walnuts, if you've seen those on the ground. Isn't it lovely? It was handmade by a Cherokee man. This is a fan. You see, it's made with feathers. And these are feathers that we find on the ground, of course. We don't hurt birds. We don't hurt birds. We find these on the ground. And it has fringes also. These are to be pretty. We like them pretty. And the fan is used in ceremonial things. It's used sometimes to wave smoke. And isn't it lovely? It's a lovely fan. We use fans a lot of fans like this. And it's important to remember that Native Americans are still here. The indigenous people are still here in this country. And we have lots of different ways and different ways of living and different traditions. From here in the southeast woodlands, where we are, to the west coast of this country in California. We're all very different, but in many ways we're very similar. And we never forget that we're all connected and that Mother Earth keeps us all alive. Here in the southeast, for example, I know you've heard stories and probably seen on television that Indian people lived in teepees, and some did. But here, the southeast woodland Indians, the Cherokee, the Shawnee, the Creek, and others lived in actual houses, log houses, and some lived in something called a longhouse. And the longhouse would be very, very long, and lots of families would live in it together. And the people had the people were all equal, all men, all women, they were all equal. Children were honored and respected, and their voices were respected. And the people were looked up to the grandmothers. It was called a grandmother's council, and the grandmothers made all the decisions for the people. And they were greatly respected, and still are greatly respected among indigenous people. And remember, indigenous also refers to the same thing as Native American and American Indian people. It all means the same thing, these words. And the Grandmother's Council was very important and is very important because the grandmothers are very wise. They've lived a long time, they've learned a lot of things, and they love their children and the people. And so we look up to the grandmothers and the grandfathers, and we call them elders, the grandfathers and the grandmothers. And we want guidance from them. They're very important to us. And I know everybody loves their grandparents, right? But grandparents don't necessarily have to be the parents of my parents.
In a moment, Miss Landra is going to share with us the Cherokee legend of the first strawberry. And along with this lesson, my friend Tiffany from Letcher County created these beautiful art sheets. This is a Spot the Differences, so I invite you to color along with me. And the page that goes along with this explains all the different differences that you might find in these two pictures. So I hope you enjoy this story about the first strawberry.
This is the story of how Mother Earth gave us the first strawberry. One day, a woman and her husband were at home, and they had been having a good day, but for some reason, they got into a little argument. They argued and argued. The more they talked, the angrier they got. And so finally, the woman said to the man, "You go sit and think about this argument and why we're arguing, and if it's worth being angry about." And meanwhile, while the man was sitting to think about why they were arguing and if it was important to argue, the woman went for a walk in the woods. And Mother Earth, who is the mother of all, the earth that gives us everything we need, that provides everything that we need for life, all of our food, all of our clothes, everything. Mother Earth could feel the woman's pain as the woman walked on the earth. Mother Earth could feel that woman was upset. And Mother Earth wants all people to be happy and healthy. So as the woman walked along the path, thinking about the argument, and if it was worth being upset and angry, a blueberry popped up by the path. But she was too upset to notice it really. She just sort of noticed it out of the side of her eye. And she continued on, and blackberries popped up beside the path. And she sort of noticed the blackberries, but still she was too upset to really stop and look at them. And Mother Earth could feel that she was still really upset. So then Mother Earth thought, what can I do that will cause her to pause and to be happy? And so, in the path in front of the woman, up pops a beautiful strawberry plant with these lovely, luscious red strawberries on it. And the woman thought, I haven't seen anything so beautiful. And what a beautiful shade of red that is. So she walked around the strawberry and she looked at it from all sides because she had never seen a strawberry before. And then she sat down on the path and plucked a strawberry. And she thought, it must be safe to eat because Mother Earth placed it in my path and there were other berries along the way. So she tasted the strawberry. And as it happened, when she had gone around the plant to look at it and she sat down in the path, she was facing back toward her house and she could see her house from where she sat in the path. And she started thinking about her husband in the house and wondering if he was thinking about why they were arguing and why they were upset. And she thought about this as she ate the strawberry. And as she bit deeper into the strawberry, she found the shape of a heart inside the strawberry itself. And the heart reminded her of love. It reminded her that she loved her husband. And she started to wonder, do we really want to fight and be upset? And as she ate another one of the strawberries, she realized of her connection. And as she sat there on the ground and thought and remembered connection to all things, the strawberry reminded her of how people are connected to the earth. And the heart in the strawberry reminded the woman of how people are all connected to one another, because we all have the same mother, the same earth mother that provides for us and keeps us alive. It gives us air and water and food and everything. And as she thought about these things, she started realizing, whatever we were arguing about, it wasn't that important. The importance is that we stay connected, that we're connected to the earth and all connected to one another as people, all people. And as she stood up to walk back toward the house, she saw her husband walking toward her, and they met halfway between the house and the strawberry. And she had brought him a strawberry, and she told him about this wonderful thing that she had found and its connection to the earth. And he told her that he was very sorry, that he didn't know why they were arguing, and she didn't know why they were arguing, and none of it was worth arguing about. What mattered was love, and whatever it was that caused the argument in the first place, they would talk about it calmly and come to an agreement. And they both enjoyed the strawberry that the woman had brought back. And they were both reminded of the heart inside the strawberry and the love between all people, and that the Mother gives us great gifts. Mother Earth gives us great gifts. And that is the story of the first strawberry.